Good morning, friends. I'm the GM Philosopher. Welcome back to GM Philosophy, the channel where we empower game masters to run better games. Today, we're talking about 3 ways to keep tension high without constant combat. Now, in my book that I recently released called The Advanced Art of TTRPG Game Mastery, on page 32, I say this about building layered narratives. When you anchor your campaign in theme, tone, and symbolism, you create layers. The story becomes more than a series of events. It becomes a lattice of meaning. Okay, so the top layer is what the players see: the cage, the dragon, the fight, etc. The middle layer is what they feel, and this is where we put tension. Tension, awe, sorrow, the rush of choice. These are things the players feel, and that's the layer we want to address when we're putting tension into the game. And of course, there's the bottom layer also. This is what the actions, this is what the choices, this is what the feelings mean. Could mean defiance, loss, hope, what they choose to stand for, right? But how do you create this tension? Well, I've got 3 steps to help you do it today. This is going to help you crank up the tension in your games without having to run combats every single minute. Tip number 1 here is simple. Make the stakes personal and immediate, okay? Your players already care about their characters, so this is a great place to start. Threaten something that their character owns, something that they care about, something that's important to them. It could be a friend, a magic item. It could be their animal companion. Maybe a letter arrives threatening their animal companion, or talking between the lines, a veiled threat like something could happen if you don't do this, right? Maybe a bounty has been placed on them and they hear about it and they know that the bounty hunters coming after them are very formidable and they tend to play dirty. When the stakes cut close to the heart, even a conversation can feel lethal, and that's where you bring in tension. Threaten what they value, not just what's on the map, okay? Not just what's obvious. You have to look into their motivations, into their desires, figure out what they value, and then you make those stakes personal and you make them immediate. In other words, you create a scenario where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to rest until this is resolved. That, my friends, is tension. And this leads us to point number 2, time pressure and limited options, okay? Tension often comes from not having enough time or freedom to act. So you can introduce like ticking clock mechanisms, not literally setting a clock, but like storyline ticking clocks. One of my favorites is, an NPC that they love, or maybe even another player character, gets struck with a magical disease. They have to find a cure. And then this disease is so powerful that they really can only find the cure in one place. Hint, hint, wink, wink. That's kind of the direction you want to take the story. So unless they figure out something really creative or they're willing to bite the bullet and let that character perish, they're going to have to go through this quest, okay? So you can also use different things. You can use the environment around them is burning and the fire is encroaching, or the floods are rising, or the weather is getting more and more tumultuous. When you put a time pressure and then limit their options on things, this doesn't mean you're trying to railroad them. They can still get creative, but what it means is you're putting tension in because you're kind of eliminating a lot of the extra relaxation time that comes between fights. You're making it tense, right? You're adding to the pressure. You can also limit their resources. You can give them routes that are not safe and then kind of show them one safe route, but then there's like a hang up or there's a problem with it, right? So it's almost like the players might look at you and say, oh my gosh, there are no good options and I'm worried about it. That's kind of what you're trying to create. Now, you don't want to force it on them. You don't want to when I say you don't want to force it on them, you don't want to oppress them with terribleness. You want to use this strategically and you want to use it at key times and for a key duration. You don't want to just constantly oppress your players with tension. You want to give them tension, let it be something valuable, and then let them solve it. This is reward, right? They're going to like that. It's going to make them feel good, and that's going to make the game more fun. And this is like a cyclic event. And that's how it is in life, isn't it? We go through periods of tension. We figure it out. We get past it. We have a little bit of relaxation time. And guess what? Something comes back to make us tense again. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. Now, this final tip is probably my favorite, which is play with secrets, betrayal, and unreliability. You can create incredible tension through social dynamics. Before we dive into that, I just want to remind you, I have a free ebook called the 10-Minute GM Mastery Toolkit. This is an ebook where I have compiled the top 10 pieces of wisdom I've learned from 20 plus years running games. I've condensed it all down into 10 powerful topics, 10 powerful tips that go really deep, and it is brief. So it's a 10-minute read. So you can level up your next session literally with a 10-minute read. You can't go wrong. This is free, and I give this away to help fulfill the mission of the channel, which is to empower game masters to run better games. So download that. Make sure you don't miss it. Link is in the description. And let's move on with this final tip. Play with secrets, betrayal, and unreliability, okay? Truth is a slippery thing. Let it twist beneath the player's feet a little bit in their social dynamics, okay? You can introduce NPCs with hidden agendas. In fact, you can embrace the truth that probably every single PC at some layer is, corrupt or dirty, or they will do bad things to get what they want. And there's this game that the players can become aware of where everyone is conspiring and they can't really trust anyone. Or if they think they can trust someone, where's the line where they can't? And maybe they're being lied to, and maybe they get little hints of that, and maybe there are people conspiring against them. This works especially well if you're playing some kind of political or dramatic type campaign, but this can also work on the open trail when you have two NPCs with you, and one of them is supposed to be your guide, and he mumbles the other one, and they don't really know what's going on. These could be things like rumors going around, secrets, things the players see that cause suspicion, right? When the only certainty with their friends or their comrades is uncertainty, every roleplay scene actually becomes a battlefield. Distrust creates a lot of tension, and you can use this. Now, I would caution you not to do this with every NPC. I like to let the players have NPCs that they love who are legitimately kind of pure, but then everyone else is fair game, man. Bring in NPCs, make them lovable, make them really bond with one or two of the player characters, and then make things start to get weird, make things weird. And you can even have those NPCs try to corrupt some of the player characters, and then, even if they don't succeed, that's almost not the point. The point is the fun of the drama and that tension and the real sense of danger and betrayal and mistrust that creeps in. So you can use those social dynamics to create a lot of tension. In conclusion, remember that you don't need to swing swords every 5 minutes or have explosions or arrows or magic missiles flying just to create tension in your games. If the tension is woven into that second layer of the layered narrative, which is the feelings layer, and you weave it into their fears, into their choices, into their alliances, into the silence between the fights, you're going to create a lot of really palpable tension. The players may not even realize you're doing it. It's going to translate to them as, oh my gosh, this game is so exciting. Like, I can't stop thinking about it. I can't wait for next week when we get to play again because I can't wait to see what happens, or I can't wait to try this thing or whatever, right? There's going to be that sense of it's addictive because there's real tension and that's engaging and fun. Players are going to love it. Remember to join our GM Philosophy Discord. Link to that is in the description. We have over 500 members now. Talk about awesome TTRPG stuff all the time. With that being said, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for coming back for another episode of GM Philosophy in the morning. Empowering game masters to run better games. That's our mission. So smash that subscribe button and keep coming back. I'll see you awesome people on the next one.